House Democrats made some waves this week with a news conference centered around President Trump. The Democratic Caucus shared their criticisms about the president on Wednesday.
I'm hopeful. I pray. I pray for the president. I pray for the people around him, that they'll see the light, that they want to work and move in a more bipartisan way. It hasn't happened yet, but hope springs eternal.
This event comes in conjunction with President Trump nearing his 100th day in office on April 29th. Democrats mainly criticized the president's health care plan, the proposal of a border wall, and upcoming tax reform. President Trump outlined his tax reform plan on Wednesday with Secretary of Treasury Steven Mnuchin. The plan would cut the top tax rate for businesses from 35% to 15%. Another big change is in income tax that would see certain tax brackets reduced, with rates going from 28% to 10%, 33% to 20%, and 39.6% to 25% respectively. Mnuchin says that the tax reform could be historic.
This is going to be the biggest tax cut and the largest tax reform in the history of our country, and we are committed to seeing this through.
Of all the changes, a border adjustment tax was not mentioned. Government funding expires on Friday, which could mean a potential government shutdown. Congressional leaders say they are working to come to a bipartisan agreement about how money should be spent to avoid a shutdown similar to the one 4 years ago. The major polarizing item in the budget was the proposed wall on the border of Mexico, which President Trump backed down from on Wednesday.
It's really good news that the president seems to be taking the wall off the table in the negotiations we're having on an appropriations bill this week. It would remove the prospect of a needless fight over a poison pill proposal that members of both parties don't support.
Leaders say now all eyes are on health care spending, with both sides fighting for their party. A federal judge blocked President Trump's executive order that would remove government funding from sanctuary cities. The California judge ruled that withholding funds from cities that refuse to comply with federal immigration regulation is unconstitutional. Sanctuary cities like Chicago help undocumented immigrants by limiting cooperation with the government and reducing fears of deportation.
This is why we have courts, to halt the overreach of a president and attorney general who either don't understand the Constitution or choose to ignore it. This is why San Francisco had to stand up on behalf of people everywhere, be they immigrants or native-born. As Americans, we all have a duty to confront injustice even when it emanates from the White House.
The judge's ruling applies nationwide to the president's executive order on immigration he signed in January. That's all for this week. Join me next week on Political Pit Stop.